cap table for any business, especially a startup or a protocol, is the singular most important thing. If you don't get the cap table right, it's going to be really hard to reward people. It's going to be really hard to fund the treasury. It's going to be really hard to have incentive programs and these kind of things. So we need to get it right. Spend a fair bit of time on this, on balancing it out and making sure things are well balanced here. So let's start with the investors section of this. So there's 20 million tokens available there, and 15 million of those are for OGs. So the sacrifice checker just went online, and by aggregating the tokens due to everybody there, they come in slightly under 20 million, and under 15 million. And so that's what this is going to be. Now, we know that there are wallets in there that are not actual sacrifice wallets, that are fake. So we're going to root those out before we go to Genesis. So I hear the term, let's quote unquote blacklist a wallet, etc. That term doesn't even apply. The way it works is at Genesis, we provide a list of addresses and their initial balance to the protocol. And so when the protocol starts up, all those accounts are loaded up. There's no need to blacklist or anything. All we do is basically exclude those wallets from that initial list. Done. No more problem. So that's basically what's going to happen. So the cap table says that approximately 15 million tokens are going to be allocated in that way. Now let's look at the next section, acquisitions and partnerships. Now this is somewhat personal, so I'm just going to go through it, give you all the facts. And again, my goal here today was to give you all the facts and let you make your own decision in a community vote. So all protocols set aside tokens for growth. That growth comes through acquisitions, through partnerships, etc. I am being asked to step up and lead this. I have two other sort of startups. One of them is a sort of a passion project, but one is where I've raised capital. I can't simply walk away from that. So what I'm proposing here today is that this protocol essentially do something that in the industry is called an acqui-hire. So when there is a business that wants the human capital associated with another company, they will acqui-hire that company, and then the investors in that company are essentially get a benefit, and the person or persons involved can come on board. So I am willing to come on board and lead this, provided there is clarity and provided there's a path forward for the investors in Decentrology. I would also bring along some other folks who would be willing to join. But at the end of the day, this costs the protocol nothing. The token currently has very limited value. It's only when it actually is trading, etc., that we'll know what the true value is. And if as a leader, I have to put in the time and the effort and the resources and the strategy to make this successful, then I have to work on it, on a near full-time basis. So this is what would happen is essentially we would have tokens that would be allocated to the current investors in Decentrology, and that would free me to come here. So these are some really great investors that would then be holding VOL: Dapper Labs, the Algorand Foundation, Good News Ventures, Portico Ventures, Cosmos, Autonomy, 7X. So these are some well-known venture capitalists who would then be holding VOL. And guess what? From a strategic standpoint as a leader, that's important because it means that I can reach out to them and have them help us when we do our next round of funding. Now, in addition to me and a couple of others, the DAO would also gain exclusive ownership of two of the products, DAppStarter and Proof of Engagement Token. So DAppStarter I've talked about on videos before, so you know it's basically a code generation platform, and Vulcan has been integrated into it, and it will continue to develop it within the team, but essentially we'll block it from other protocols. It'll be a Vulkan only tool. The next one is a tool that's currently in an application that's currently in beta. It's called POET, Proof of Engagement Token. Many of you might be familiar with POAP. It's a very popular service where when you attend events, etc., you get a token. And that token essentially is used to recognize that you were at a particular event, whether it's a conference or you attended a live stream like this, etc. At the end of it, you can claim a token. So we have created that exact same thing, but with better features and with an API so developers can extend it. So that's POET. And so as part of this acquihire, we would be able to launch POET right away on Vulkan. On POAP, on Ethereum, more than 16 million tokens have been created by 35,000 or so creators. So if we have this service and make it available, we can get a lot of users. So we want apps that get users using the protocol, because that's where we get transactions. That's what drives the rebasing. So anyway, I wanted to present to you the sort of terms under which this could happen. I tried to I worked with the others on the team and tried to keep it fairly straightforward. There's no cash or anything. It's just pure tokens. All right, let's go on to the cap table for the core team. So here, there's an allocation of 7.5 million tokens. That's roughly 15%, and that's for the core team. That's in line what is usually allocated to founding teams and core teams. So here we go. So the core team grants are very specific and very special in that they have constraints. First of all, the vesting period is 36 long months. There is also a cliff. A cliff means essentially a lockup of 6 months. And in addition, all these grants are revocable. So for example, 66% of the core team holders can choose to revoke the grant of another core team member. That's a tall order. It's almost like, in the US Senate, you need 66% for certain things. So, but that protects us from essentially a core team member can just walk away with a bunch of equity, a bunch of tokens. The key core team holders are ePlays Labs, myself, Brian Legend, and Jason Mathers. Now, you're probably saying, Legend doesn't deserve anything there. Well, keep in mind that, as I said earlier, we are initiating the process of discovery. We are going to apply capital to figure out the legal recourses, etc. Until that happens, the tokens are there, but they are locked and they are revocable, and they have a vesting period of 36 months. So we've got a lot of protections in place so these tokens cannot be abused. And we'll make sure of that. So this is really, really important, that until we have clarity of that, none of us should be able to use any tokens. They're basically frozen. They exist as a line item, and that's about it.